How we doing tonight? Let me know. Make sure you guys can hear me. This is the first time I've done this on my phone through a hotel room, so we'll see if this works or not. Got my phone over here, my iPad over here, so if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm reading comments and stuff, so. Anything you guys want to talk about, just let me know. I didn't have videos out this week because I didn't get a chance to get them edited before I took off on Sunday night, Monday morning. Was gonna edit videos when I got home Monday afternoon, and didn't happen because my truck broke down and I'm sitting in Ohio, so not too far away from home, but talk about anything you guys want to talk about. So we've been having kids be kitted out in the last couple weeks. I think Brooks had the last one kitted out this morning. Looks like we got 10 bucks on the ground and 3 does. Was gonna have Brooke jump on here, but haven't seen her. She said she wasn't for sure. She's been pretty tired lately, so if you have any questions, I'll try to do my best. As most of you know, Brooke's the one that knows everything. Not saying that in a smart ass way, but just saying that in general. She's the one that knows all the technical stuff. But for you guys that have asked in the past couple weeks, all our bucks that we had for sale are sold. We have one that will be going to Thailand here in the next couple weeks to a guy over there. And then our other one went down to southern Indiana to a guy there. When we do get ready for kidding, we basically just cut back their feed about a month out from kidding. We go from around 2 pounds a day to a pound a day for our does, so they can cut back a little bit, and then we'll up their feed intake when we get closer to right when they're really close to kidding. We did have one that had a little bit of toxemia. She basically went off a feed, and that's pretty much the first time we've had toxemia in a while. So I think we had 25 does bred. So we've been having triplets. So that's been one of them things this year already. We got, like I said, 10 bucks and 3 does. So it hasn't been the greatest. The little Dapple doe we had, or out of the Recep that we had, we ended up having to put her down. She didn't ever come through and was able to walk or nothing. She was very vigorous and really good at eating and like that. It just, she wasn't, never made it from that spot where she had that kink in her neck. So I'm not for sure. The vet was trying to tell me that there was some type of disease there was, but he didn't remember what the name was off the top of his head. So we were hoping that we'd be able to find something out about it, but wasn't able to. So, and it is what it is with the receps. Talk about the selling to Thailand. Just was contacted on a buck, the first buck down and dirty that we had, and we were contacted by somebody that was from Thailand, and he's been actually buying quite a few goats. If you're on Facebook, any you've been seeing, I think it's Flying Hoofs or something like that, and he's been buying quite a few. He is one of them brokers that don't want to spend super high dollars on these does or on these bucks or even does. He wants to get a fair to middling good animal that he can take and pass on to his clients. He A lot of the clients over there ain't like some of the clients we've seen in the past with the high end style buyer. So, and it takes, from what I've heard, it takes a lot of money to get a goat there. It ends up adding about $4,000 on top of the goat. Only thing I did learn from this whole process is you got to make sure you put enough money on the table from the get-go once you find out that it's outside, out of the country. If I would have sold him locally or to somebody here in this, he probably would have gone about 2 months ago, or about a month ago, I guess. We've been holding on to him since November 15th. They were supposed to pick him up, and it looks like he will leave the 16th or 17th of December. So I wish the time frame that I had to wait, had to have him tested and stuff like that. So I would have asked for a little bit more if I would have known about the time that it would have took to get him shipped. And I understand why the guy wanted to wait. If the quarantine facility is packed up with animals, he really didn't want them animals to end up going into a quarantine facility where there was already other animals there. Paying that kind of money, he didn't want them to catch anything. So, talk about Recep Dosing now, what that means. Recep Dose are basically any kind of doe, and you implant embryos from your show animals into them goats, basically through the flush process. They extract the embryos out of bred does, and it's all synchronized where they can able to pull them out. I don't know technical stuff when it comes to that, but they basically take the embryos out after they're already fertilized, and then they implant them in our Recep does. So that way another doe can be carrying the kids instead of the moms. And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. You end up getting, sometimes you end up getting more kids out of it, but then there's times where you don't end up getting nothing and you still got the money involved. You can end up costing you more money in the long run. But we've been a little bit here and a little bit there if it's actually worth it. We just took 5 recips down to be bred to the Dappled doe that I sold last fall about this time, I think it was, that she ended up flushing out. We have one doe coming in or one bred recip from her, and then I have a couple bred recips that I had split a flush with somebody, and they owed me some recips, bred recips, so we got them coming as well. Where is the goat industry in the United States going? in that aspect, it could be going. I guess it would all depend on what you're thinking of. In that, are we going into the high end animals, or are we going to the more of the commercial side, or the side of the industry where we're raising meat? Um, I think in the long run, I think there's going to be more meat breeders, but I think the prices are going to go up because everybody wants the meat side of it. So that's going to be something that's going to help the commercial breeder or people just getting into it. But there's still a lot to know about where we're going. I think the prices on good animals are going to go up and hold. But at the same time, I think the fair to Midland animals are going to actually raise up and end up costing people that are just getting into the industry to get a decent quality animal. Should you feed does that are pregnant heavily throughout the pregnancy? We don't. Everybody has their own way that they want to feed. We don't usually do a flush ration. Our goats basically, when when we take the kids away from them, we end up pouring feed to them to put weight back on them. And then once we get close to kidding, we'll cut them back on their feed ration. And then, or close to breeding, we cut them back on their feed ration. And then we increase back that feed ration once we get them bred. And then we go from there. And then we'll increase it once they get close to kidding, so they're not getting a big influx of feed before they actually kid out. So they start doing that milk production that they need. Hello there in California. Sorry, my iPad's way up here and it's hard for me to see with all this light here. So I'll move it over here. Maybe I can read something. For us on worming, we only worm when we think an animal needs it. We watch them. If they get diarrhea or if they get something like that, we'll worm them because usually that's the first thing for us. If we have one that has bad hair problems, they're not shedding out in the spring, they'll get wormed. It's one of them things we basically watch the animal. Antibiotics, we go back to as they need it. We're not ones to just give them antibiotics just to give them antibiotics because we don't want them get them to be resistant. And that's one of the problems with a lot of the wormers. They're starting to get resistant on them different wormers. We've been using what have we been? I think it's Cydectin is what we've been using. And that's one of them things where we don't want to overuse it. So that's where it comes down to that. Cold Iowa. Yeah, I heard it was cold up in Michigan. I'm here in Indiana, or in Ohio, and I think it was like 35, 40 degrees today. So it wasn't too bad. When I woke up this morning and rolled out of the hotel to go down and check on my truck, there was snow on the window, so I would assume it snowed some last night. Yeah, we try not to overworm. Try not to worm at all if we don't have to. And then once we give our CD&T to our bred does, about 6-8 weeks out, I think is what we usually do. Then we don't do CD&T until till the kids are about weaning age, and then we'll do CD&T then. And they will get a booster, but most of our age does, we don't end up doing CD&T again until they're about ready to kid. That's just something we do. They say do it twice a year. There's goods and bads about it, but we try not to give it drugs if we don't have to. So if we're not having a problem, we try not to fix it. Yeah, the biggest thing with Safeguard and ivermectin, they're both been used so much, it's hard to actually know that they're doing anything for your animals, or at least that's what we've seen from doing it for the years that we have. All our does, we don't breed until they're at least a year and a half old or a year and a half, where they're going to end up being bred when they end up being 2 years old, or having kids when they're 2 years old. We try not to breed early. A lot of people like that as soon as they get 60 pounds or whatever. That's your own choice. And with show goats, we don't want to do that because we think it stunts their growth when you breed them too early. So that's the biggest thing, is we don't want to stunt their growth, and we don't want to take that away from them. And we want to make sure that they're grown up enough where they're not going to get set back when they have that first set of kids. Whole corn to substitute feed for your goats. If that's what you have, that's what you have. We don't, just because we feed a good complete feed, and we think that's the best thing for them, is a good complete feed with a good mineral package, and we feed loose minerals on top of that. So it's one of them things that is what we do, is just a complete feed. And we don't like mixing feeds and stuff like that. I know I probably could save quite a little bit of money if I ended up going with a cheaper feed when we're not showing, or the ones we're not showing. But we like where if we have to be gone from the farm, and we do have a kid that comes in and does weekend chores, that we can basically say, this is what you need to feed them. And he's able to do that without having, oh, I need to feed this feed or that feed or whatever. It's easier for us just to feed one feed and pay the little bit extra. And in the long run, I don't think it saves us that much. Best feed for feeding babies, I would say Excalibur 2 through Lowe's Pellets and Grain. Best feed on the market, in my opinion. If you can get it. If you can't get it, I would say a good complete feed. Something that's not super high molasses. I can't say it. Molasses. Something that don't have too much molasses in it. That's just something that we found out that it's not really needed. And if you're feeding a pelleted feed, they're going to eat it anyways, especially if it's a good pelleted feed. So, yeah, we start feeding our kids as soon as they hit the ground, and we put them back over in general population. They have a creep area, and they start getting creep feed in front of them from the get-go. About a week out, we usually have at least one bag in our feeder, if not 2 bags, and we just monitor it because we want to make sure that they're got feed in front of them so they can start learning how to eat. This year, with having so many bucks, we probably will do it a little bit quicker, because them bucks are going to take more milk from their parent or mom than what if it was a bunch of does. So Savannah board crosses are really good, actually, really good animals and stuff. And if I can pick them up for receps, that's something I would do. Any of the good board crosses are really good. The thing I see with the Spanish board crosses, you get more meat out of them. That's just my opinion on them. I've talked to a couple different YouTubers that run Spanish or Kingo, and they don't want to cross them with boar because they say they have more problems with the boar. But I think myself, if I could had them animals, I'd be crossing them with the boar for the speed and the ability to get a finished out carcass. If I was selling for meat, because that's what the boar is good for, is that finished out carcass. If you were looking to breed percentages, I think you could do all right with the Savannah boar crosses. Um, the Savannahs are really good. They're basically the same to me. If as looking at them, I think they have a lot of the same abilities as the boar for meat production and weight production. I think that's something that they're a little bit farther ahead when it comes down to the meat production side of it. Um, for bottle babies with diarrhea, I would say you can use Pepto Bismol works sometimes. Something you can use if it comes down to it that they really have it. Um, I would be watching what you're using as a milk replacer. If you're using whole milk, we don't ever hardly ever see it just using gallon milk from the store. When we used to mix everything together and mix this and that and whatever else, we ended up having quite a little bit of diarrhea and stuff like that. That's why we kind of went away with it, because you can't ever mix it exactly the same, and it starts messing with their stomachs and their rumen, and their rumen ain't getting going. So that's until they're a little older. So and that. Yeah, crossing that Savannah with that the national champion genetic will make you some good animals and stuff. You can make some good percentage show animals with that. Yeah, I think the Savannah was is basically. I get in this argument all the time with the guys from South Africa that I think the boar was made, and all these offshoots that are close to it, like the colored boar or the Kalahari Red or the Savannahs, I think they all pretty much came from the same genetics, but in South Africa, they decided that they wanted to break everything off from what fits their program. We only want the red head and the white body. That's all we want. So they took and broke that all off of there and decided everything else ain't a Borgo. And I almost think that that's basically where it went. I mean, like Kalahari Reds here in the United States, we always call them Borgoats. Now they're calling them Kalahari Reds. I talked to a couple guys over there about a year and a half ago, and they were saying that there's dappled boar goats all over the place, and they because the when they were crossed with everything, just to make the goat to what they want, and then they wanted the red head and white body. So them dapples were out there before they came to the United States, and they just didn't want people to see that there were different colored ones. You can tell when a boar goat is a boar goat and a boar goat is crossed with a milk goat. Hay prices in our area. I bought all my round bales. I think I bought 30 round bales at $50 a bale this summer after first cutting came off, because the dairy farm that I get hay from And then I buy for all our animals inside, because this year was hard for us to get a grass hay that we usually use for our smaller pens inside and feeding our does. I've been buying giant square bales, and they're about 900 pounds a piece, and I think, and we're paying $100 a bale for giant squares for, and they're right around 900 pounds, I think. Yeah, the dapples are a little bit of a niche thing. The problem, you can't. It's so hard to find good dapple does or good dapple animals in general. But when you find them, they're going to be high. People think they're pretty. That's the whole thing over there. Oh shoot, where are them guys from? So, Korea or wherever it is that them guys want the dapples because it's like a or not a standard. It's a oh shoot, can't think of the word, but it's basically say they're better, kind of that they're better than people, higher class, I guess, if you want to put it that way. So, but to find good dapples, to breed good dapples, if you can breed good dapples and get all the confirmation and all that good stuff in the show industry side of it, you're going to end up making some money on it. You can, even with the ones that ain't the greatest, and most of us show people would not buy them dapples, but them guys, they request a little bit higher price. I'm not going to pay high price for an animal that's not ready to go in the show ring and do something. Yeah, status symbol. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, TJ. Yeah, that I think it's one of the things where some of them cultures are that way, that they like that status symbol kind of thing. Here in the United States, it seems like a lot of people like the dapples for pasture pets. They buy all these dapples, and all they ever do is go out and end up in a pasture. And there's quite a few people around us that raise dapples that most likely, if they were in my barns, they'd probably go to the sale barn. But that's not what we do. I have a few dapples, and I like dapples. I like the coloring of dapples, but they got to be good dapples. And we got to be able to improve them to make them better dapples. It always seems like. They a lot of people don't care what they look like, and if you don't got good structure and good bone and muscling and all that, there's really no reason to have them, because they're not going to better you none. If you can't breed a buck to a doe and get something that's better, at least some of the time, it's not worth having them. We feed Durafirm Concept Aid, and we really like the Durafirm Concept Aid. And we feed it to our does all year long. No, it don't matter when. It don't have to be breeding or not. Talked to Paul Morgan a while back when he started feeding the Concept Aid, and he really liked it. So we ended up getting on it at the right shortly after he started using it. He said he was seeing some good results. Most all our pens end up having MLS tubs, which is a mineral lick tub. I'm not for sure exactly what's 100% in there, but that's just a mineral tub and protein tub. So we really like the MLS tubs. They're pretty reasonable. They're like 70, 80 bucks through Lowe's. So that's where we end up getting them. Yeah, just a good mineral. Do a complete mineral on that, and like I said, I really like the Durafirm Concept Aid, and I think they have a Durafirm regular goat mineral as well, which would probably work just as good. You just want a good complete mineral that's they're going to get everything they want out of it. Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty good buck kids this year hit the ground. How many of them will end up being buck kids? Most likely none. We haven't only seen one, possibility of two that are looking really good already. And we always look at it as if we don't really see something that we go, wow, that's a nice buck, it don't stay a buck. It'll probably end up being weathered. We haven't, last year we didn't sell very many weathers at all, but we didn't have very many weathers. But this year, I don't know if we'll sell weathers or we'll just take them to a sale barn and be done with them. The biggest problem we run into when we sell weathers is the 4 or 5 weeks later, we get people coming back to us saying, oh, our weather died or this, that, and whatever else. And they expect you to give them their money back or get them another weather. Just something we don't want to deal with all the time, I guess. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? Let me see if I see anything in here that I missed. Yeah, there's a lot of guys and stuff. I've seen the whole corn thing. There's a lot of guys that feed whole corn all year, or when they get ready to kid and stuff. It helps them out. We never really done that, and that's part of that's because of the complete feeding a complete feed. So, is there any certain type of video that you guys really want to see? Got more kidding videos coming out. Next two kidding videos coming out, or next two videos coming out will be from kidding, and an update video on all the animals. It's gonna all depend on what I decide to do. We have a lot of foreign culture up in our area, so we might end up selling them as bucks at the sale barn, but it just because they're young and we just don't want to deal with the whole banding part of them. They do sell better for us in our area as bucks, because the foreign cultures up there like them as bucks. I don't understand what the difference is, but that, and I don't know if I could talk the wife into it. I really like to take about 10 of them in and try some jerky this year. I get asked quite often, hey, you ever do jerky or something like that, because people want to try goat. So it's something that I'm looking into to see if that could be an option. There is a USDA facility up by us that processes goats. So, and they told me if I can get 10 goats, they'd process them for jerky. So, we only kid out our goats once a year. We give them a year break after they kid. They get a year break before they come back into kidding. If we're gonna flush something, we'll end up flushing them sooner. But we usually let them sit for the next 6-8 months before they breed, or before they have to kid again. Well, like right now, with December, January, February, March, and then we won't breed until July, August next year. So, if you're running a commercial operation, I would turn them right around and rebreed them as soon as they kid or as soon as they come into heat. A lot of people do. So it all depends on your operation and what you're doing with them. Yeah, AI works good for some people. Some people it don't at all. If I was doing AI, I'd do lap AI, pay the money, have them come out and have them lap AI'd. All depends on your area. Unless you have a good teaser buck or something like that, that you know they're in heat, and know what you're actually doing. I know a couple of guys that run a teaser buck, and then as soon as them does come in standing heat, they'll go shoot 2 or 3 straws in there over a time period, and sometimes they get good results with it. Sometimes they come up nothing. So yeah, it's hard to find areas, and it's getting to be more popular all over the place. Um, I'd try to find a lap AI, somebody that does lap AI or something like that. Not for sure what area you're in. There's a few places that will come do lap AI, but they want so many goats. Um, to me, it's kind of easier to find a good buck close by and just pay the breeding fee. Yeah, this was something last minute that I decided to do because, like I said, I hate when I don't get to put videos out there. Been trying to stay on that 2 videos a week, but with this getting stuck out on the road, it kind of put a pickle in that for me. Um, Brooke's the one that usually knows all the information on what's going on, and she does all the stuff at home. So if it wasn't for Brooke at home, I wouldn't have 95% of what gets done. I just do the muscle work. So yeah, there's not a lot of content, but I can tell you why there's not a lot of content, especially for the meat side of the goats. What's out there, they're all over the place. They do a little bit of goat stuff and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Um, but doing strictly goat stuff like I do is a hard content to get into, because there's really not, most people that get into this is looking to make money on it, and there's not much money to be made on the side that I decided to do. um, I enjoy it, and I enjoy helping people. Is a lot of the reason why um, I started doing it, because people were asking me, hey, how do I do this or how do I do that? So that was the big reason why I even started making these videos. And hey, I enjoy it. So I'm glad to see that people enjoy watching the videos and get information out of it. Um, if you guys hear of anybody that wants to sponsor me, help me out. Um, Send them my way, because I'm willing to work with people, review stuff. I know some people like when I review products. A lot of people don't like that I review products. So I can watch my view duration goes down when I review products, especially if I'm reviewing something quite often. Got a couple videos coming up on barn cameras. So that's something that I'm adding more barn cameras to our barn. And then I'm adding a outside barn camera that runs off cellular data. So yeah, I like when I get to talk to more people. I was hoping to get more videos on when I went down for the sales in Kentucky a couple weeks back. I was hoping to get to talk to more people about what's going on in the industry. I really was hoping by now I'd have something up where I can do a monthly podcast, if you want to call it that, with somebody on. I talked to Lowe's a couple times about getting their nutritionist on with us, and he's agreed to come on with us. We just got to make time to do it. Been talking to a couple bigger breeders about sitting down, talking with them, maybe going showing their farms off. Couple different things that I've been debating on if it would be worth doing. Fitting animals or fitting and picturing animals for sales. But for us, most of our sales are early in the spring, and we're fighting snow when we're doing it. So we don't usually even think about it when it's time. Barn cameras might save. Yes, we got Arlo cameras with Wi-Fi out in the barn right now, and it saves me so much running back and forth to the barn. And you can actually turn on volume and hear what's going on. Like I said, I do have a video coming up because I ended up getting a few. I think they're called Rolink or something like that. Rollrink. And they run on a cellular data package. It's like $10 a month once you buy the camera, and the card it's like $10 a month, and you get like 2 gigs. I'm gonna put one of them up outside of the barn just to look at the back pastures and stuff to see how it actually works, if it works. And then I'm gonna use one of them inside the barn to see how it works, so I can show people that if they work or if they don't work, because I know a lot of people don't have Wi-Fi out to their barns, especially if they're quite a little ways away from the houses. So yeah, it's always good to talk goats instead of talking politics or news. So I try to stay away from most of that stuff. I don't have any type of radio in the truck, so I usually listen to YouTube or something like that while I'm driving. So it's YouTube stuff and pretty much, and better way to educate other people on what I'm doing. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I think how long I've been on here for almost 45 minutes already. Wow, that went fast. We will be in the March Madness sale. I think we're going to have 5 animals in the March Madness sale. That's coming up at the end of February down in Kentucky. I think it's Russellville, Kentucky, or something like that. Same place as the the final harvest sale was at. So down there with Chris Anderson and Marie Anderson, Drew Williams will be the auctioneer. We'll have our animals hopefully pictured by mid-February or early February, because we're going to have to haul them to somewhere else so we can get them washed and fitted up, because we have nowhere to do that at our place. So we're going to have to definitely do that, haul them somewhere else. I think we're going to haul them up to my father-in-law's house and fit them there. He has a heated garage / barn with drains in the floor, so that will be where we'll end up fitting. So I don't know if I'll be able to do much for a video on that, but I will have videos out of the animals. We got some actually really good animals coming up for that sale. There's a lot of them we should be showing them already, but you can't show them all. And I think we had 22 does last year. Doe kids hit the ground, and we had a really good crop, and so it helps out quite a little bit. So one last thing before I jump off of here, if you guys want any Clear Creek Farm merchandise on our website, Clear Creek Boar Goats, or what is it? Yeah, clearcreekboargoats.com. We have shirts on there. If you're interested in any of them, just send me a message on Facebook or Messenger or some way, get a hold of me, send me an email, or message me in one of these videos, because they're all discounted. We're trying to move some of them out so that way we can order new t-shirts. I'm hoping within the next 2 to 3 months, we're with a company that will carry a line of merchandise for us and be able to print it off on demand, is what my goal is. But with the holidays, he wasn't able to add me on before then. And I hate to say it, I got a closet full of shirts from last year when I tried to make a couple different shirts. If you guys want hoodies or something like that, let me know. I can get them ordered as well. But I have an order going in next week, so if you really want hoodies or stocking caps or something like that, let me know right away, because that order I got to have in by the 15th. So, yeah, this whole truck being down set me back a little bit on doing things that I want to get done. So, we're going to try to keep videos coming out to you. I know over the holiday break, we might not have no videos out. But if that's all you guys want to talk about tonight, if you don't have any other questions or anything like that you guys want to talk about, I'm going to jump off of here. Got to get up in the morning and go check on my truck, see if it's done, see if I can get back on the road. They're supposed to have the last of the parts in the morning, so. But not seeing no more questions come through, so thank you guys for coming along tonight and coming out for the video. See you guys on the next one.